Dear human being, beloved soul, I welcome you to my podcast series, Conversations with the Universe. After a near-death experience, my perception of our human existence changed profoundly. I became more sensitive, with all our known senses. I feel more intensely, see people with different eyes, and often take a different perspective on life and our challenges. In my books, I share these altered perspectives and all the knowledge that has flowed through me since my near death and thus record it. For all those who are searching for something more, for the meaning of our existence here on Mother Earth. And it is now a great pleasure for me to share this knowledge with you in this way as a supplement to my books. This season I am dedicating myself to my very first work, the basics of being. I wish you many wonderful insights on your path. Thank you. Love.
First, a quick note about my network, SPINE. This is short for the Spiritual Network and is the first global social media network for holistic knowledge, awareness, spirituality, and above all, a bridge between providers and seekers. I invite you to join us and connect with me there. Feel free to look around, find lots of podcasts, events, healers, but above all, lots of inspiration to grow. It's free. But now let's start with today's episode. The Bible says so beautifully, "In the beginning was the Word." But isn't there a thought before the word? It has never been advisable to take the Bible literally, and this is also true in this case. A word is the expression of a thought, and thoughts are energy. But which came first? Once again, we are faced with the famous question of what came first, the chicken or the egg. To answer this question correctly, we must again distinguish precisely between the different levels. Is a thought material or is it subtle? The answer is as complex as life itself, because it is both. This brings us to a point where we should first examine this question from the perspective of the dense matter that exists here. Where do thoughts come from? The animal within you is the essence of your feelings, and your mind, your soul, your energy are the essence of connection. Thoughts and feelings are very closely linked because feelings are the channel of your animal and thoughts are the channel of your mind. And yet, they are both connected. Like yin and yang, they influence each other in equal measure. If you are influenced by the feelings within you, then it will be these feelings that shape your thoughts. If you are very connected to your higher self, then it will be subtle impulses that move you. And these subtle impulses shape your thoughts and, in the next instance, your feelings. There are two approaches that make life in this world pulsate. Some people let the animal, i.e., their feelings, determine and shape their thoughts, and others let the subtle impulses shape their thoughts. As we have already stated, you are more than this body that you wear like a garment in this life, and the energy you carry in your body receives impulses from this connection. That is why I would like to emphasize once again how important it is that you allow the animal in you to live, but also that you nurture the subtle spiritual part of yourself and establish and maintain the connection between the two parts. This connection is the greatest treasure, the greatest opportunity, the most sacred thing you possess, because then you become whole. Then you are master of your feelings, the vessel of impulses. Then it cannot happen that only one of the two parts shapes your thoughts, but both together. So there they are, the two poles of the world of thoughts. And as you know, in the world of duality, it is important to think from the center. One can help the other not to fall into extremes. Observe very carefully where the thought you are currently having originates. Is it a feeling that makes you think, or is it a kind of idea you are focusing on? The next step is to take responsibility for how you deal with this thought. Your free will determines what you do with this thought. If it comes from the world of feelings, this feeling will intensify if you want it to. If it comes from the spirit world, you can decide to concentrate on it until it becomes a whole space. The more you give yourself over to this process, the larger the space becomes, and there the word emerges. It is similar with emotional thoughts. I will call them that now so that you can better understand that these are the thoughts that come from your feelings. If you give power to this feeling through concentration, it will become stronger. This is often attributed to women who are said to get carried away more quickly than men because of their emotional nature. By constantly concentrating their power on the feeling, they create a constantly growing, powerful space. This is where words arise emotionally and begin to flow. Humans can create entire worlds solely through the power of their thoughts. Humans are called upon to be aware of their entire creative power, including their ability to create such energetic forms. These then exist in the cosmos and interact with all other energies. According to the law of the Trinity, they must be transformed elsewhere. The art of thinking is the art of creating. Once humans are finally aware of their responsibility and their true gift, they become creators. In the best sense, they become conscious creators who want to promote beauty and life. In the worst sense, they become destroyers of life and beauty. You decide whether you create a space from your thoughts into which you enter and from which words then emerge, or whether you leave that alone. No space for thoughts, no basis for further impulses. Are you aware that everything created by humans was once a thought? Everything beautiful and everything cruel, every house, every street, every invention and every non-invention, everything. And because that is the case, your thoughts are also the beginning of everything, but only if you want them to be. But once you have decided to do so, at some point, this thought will give rise to a form and will inevitably shape matter. The decision to build a house is the first imaginary brick. And so it is with good thoughts and bad thoughts. If you give them power, spaces emerge, words emerge, sentences emerge, resonances emerge. Thoughts and feelings or intuition are energetic fields that differ only in their speed of information processing. Your body is the vessel in which all this happens. The body processes these impulses. The felt, animalistic impulses faster, the mental, subtle impulses slower. In the beginning is the thought, not the word. And in the beginning is the feeling, not the word. But both form the word. The body is the tool for shaping thoughts so that they in turn shape matter. But thoughts do not just flow through your tool, that is your body. They also shape it. To be human is to be a creator. Without exception, every human being is equipped with sufficient consciousness and power to create things in their life. Remember the example with the light bulbs. Surely some have clearer consciousness and more power than others, but it is not about the potential itself, only about recognizing it. And with this recognition of their true potential, people's goals change. If a person has goals, then they have tasks to accomplish in order to achieve those goals. If a person lives unconsciously from day to day, they will have to perform tasks that others have assigned to them. But if they begin to move their consciousness, their desire to achieve something meaningful, fulfilling, sustainable and lasting becomes greater and greater. Then a beautiful cycle begins, because the fulfilling feeling that comes from working gives you so much strength that your goals become higher, even nobler, even more helpful and supportive. And as you now know, it is precisely this process that allows the soul to rise energetically. In other words, to purify itself. That is why it is important to find yourself on your soul's journey, and from this state, to form goals that will bring you truly fulfilling and uplifting tasks. Focusing on a goal opens the heart and brings about a change in perception, i.e., in consciousness. The decisive factors here are the nature of the task, the openness of the person doing it, the power with which they do it, and the goal that stands above all their actions. As already explained in the chapter The Gate of Being, the power of the heart is the strongest and greatest power we can create. More power will enable you to act with greater perseverance, and more perseverance will achieve more in the material world. However, our times carry with them the great danger of distraction. There are people who are constantly creating, seeking tasks and goals, but ultimately without questioning the meaning behind them. They simply do things and wonder why time flies by. But this can only happen if, despite all the endless things they do, they cannot find moments of peace for themselves and are therefore unable to gather their energies. They are not at one with themselves. But being at peace with oneself is a prerequisite for optimal concentration. Not being able to concentrate means becoming scattered and, as a result, having less and less power. As their energy dwindles, they become increasingly unaware of it and thus lose their connection to their higher self. As a result, their life goals fade so much that life becomes a mere existence without meaning or purpose. This creates a feeling of deep inner emptiness. Concentration is the path to yourself. You become what you focus on. It's a vicious circle, because finding the strength to concentrate enough to achieve fulfilling goals when you feel empty is incredibly difficult. But as you know, every soul in its experience of ego consciousness will eventually reach a point where curiosity turns into longing, heralding the journey home. If your actions are meaningful and come from the heart, they will make you stronger, freer, and more alive. Your work in the material world will be completely different once you are truly aware of this. Connection. You will seek more fulfillment in your work than before, but you will only find fulfillment within yourself. Then your work will always be accompanied by a conscious connection with everything, and from this connection you will make different decisions. These decisions will ultimately lead you somewhere else than before, when you acted without this awareness and think what you are, feel what you are, become who you are. But it doesn't have to be that way. You steer the wheel of your destiny with every decision you make. Only you. And you steer it more consciously when you take time for yourself to gather your thoughts, to find yourself, and to clearly formulate your desires and goals. This is the beginning of a path that will enrich you and move your consciousness. Being here and becoming creative does not take any effort. It makes you and your connection to the cosmos stronger. A person without tasks is aimless, and aimlessness is a form of distraction. Just as parts of the soul can be scattered over eons, you can scatter a lot of energy in a single lifetime. Such distraction makes it infinitely difficult to concentrate on one thing. But humans need concentration to shape their consciousness. Therefore, it is important to find the peace from which you can recognize the right goals in your life so that you can then focus your energy on them. But it is essential that you fill your impulses with the energy of your heart. You know that the gate is essential for all activity here on this planet. It unfolds your potential into a powerhouse of energy, and this energy, in resonance and harmony with the cosmos, is limitless. All of this then begins to move your mind and, with it, your consciousness. If you move this, you are in the flow of life and glide along with your boat like a feather in the wind. And I would like to remind you to join our community Spine. We are a community that wants to help you live a healthier life, practice your spirituality, and expand your consciousness. We help you find and connect with healers around the world, and we help you give your life a new meaning in different ways. We are Spine, connections that help.